Silence is not winning. It is just letting people think they can cross your boundaries without consequences. One viewer wrote that after my last video, and it wrecked the whole argument I thought I'd already made because she's not wrong. And that's exactly what nobody explains about Machiavellian strategy. Silence isn't automatically strength. Sometimes it's just fear wearing a costume. If you've tried going quiet on someone and ended up asking yourself, am I being strong right now, or am I just avoiding this? That's not confusion. That's the actual question Machiavelli answers, and almost nobody reads far enough to find it. Here's the test most people never get. Is there a real difference between strategic silence and avoidance, or is it just a feeling you talk yourself into either way? There is a difference, and it's not about how calm you look on the outside. Let's start with what silence actually is when it works. Machiavelli called it virtù, deliberate, chosen action, applied at a specific moment for a specific reason. When you go quiet strategically, you can name why. You know what you're protecting, and you know when the silence ends. That's control. Now here's what it looks like when it fails. Avoidance is silence with no reason attached and no deadline attached. It's not a decision, it's postponement dressed up as peace. And several of you called this out directly after the first video. Some comments went further and called the whole strategy narcissistic or cold or a way to punish someone without ever taking responsibility. Here's the uncomfortable part. Sometimes these comments are right. Silence used to dodge accountability isn't Machiavellian. It's just fear with better branding. So how do you tell the difference in the moment it actually matters? One viewer laid out the real scenario. If a husband is always disrespecting you, is silence power, or do you have to take a stand by responding? This is where the line gets drawn. If your silence is teaching the other person that disrespect has no cost, that's not strategy, that's a boundary quietly dissolving. Political realism was never about tolerating repeated disrespect. It was about choosing your moment to respond with precision instead of reacting to every provocation. Here's the actual diagnostic, and it's simpler than it sounds. Ask yourself one question the next time you go quiet. Can I name the purpose of the silence, and do I know when it ends? If yes, that's virtù, that's calculated. If the honest answer is, I don't know, I just don't want to deal with it, that's avoidance, and it will cost you exactly what it costs anyone who lets boundaries erode, repeat violations, because the other person has no reason to believe anything will change. Robert Greene wrote about a version of this same trap in the 48 Laws of Power, the idea that withdrawing without a plan just creates a vacuum, and someone else fills it. If you go silent with no purpose, the other person doesn't experience your silence as strength. They experience it as an opening. That's the part avoidance always misses. It assumes quiet automatically reads as powerful. It doesn't. It only reads that way when the other person can sense there's a decision behind it. This cuts both ways, and getting it wrong in either direction has a real price. Avoidance lets damage compound silently. The disrespect keeps happening because nothing signals it shouldn't. But reacting to everything burns the leverage silence is supposed to protect. Machiavelli never argued for constant confrontation either. Statecraft was never about reacting to every insult. It was about picking the moments that matter and staying unreadable everywhere else. Human nature doesn't reward the person who explains every reaction. It reads unpredictability as strength and predictability as weakness. Avoidance and overreaction both make you predictable. Calculated silence is the only version that doesn't. So here's what changes for you the next time you go quiet on someone. Stop asking whether silence makes you look strong. Start asking whether you can name the purpose and the deadline. If you can, you're using virtù the way Machiavelli described it, deliberate, timed, and in your control. If you can't, you're not being strategic. You're just hoping the problem resolves itself, while the other person learns exactly how far they can push you. That question, how far someone can push you before silence stops protecting you and starts enabling them, is exactly where the next video picks up. Because some of you are dealing with people who use this same tactic against you on purpose. Watch that one next, because recognizing strategic silence in yourself is only half the skill. Recognizing it when someone's using it on you is the other half.